Welcome back to another Driven Daily episode. So, today I wanted to talk about what it means to be ready or what it means to be confident and comparing that to just starting. Something that I've really been relating to these days is, just starting without even feeling ready. I'm still young, I'm still in high school, and sometimes I feel like maybe I'm too young for what I'm doing, maybe getting out there talking on YouTube or doing whatever I'm doing, whether it be starting maybe a side project, trying to get some money on my own, like in an unorthodox way, not getting a job or something like that, trying to gain experience in other areas. Whereas people I know are usually getting jobs and what it's pretty common at this age. So I do feel like, what if it's not the right time? But I'm realizing now that rather than thinking of it in a negative connotation and thinking out about the fact that what if I'm not ready? What if I'm too young? Is just holding me back from really getting out there and just doing it. Because what I've realized is if I just go out there and do it without questioning myself and just continuously push, it usually adds up to something more impressive than what's considered to be normal. Like, for example, freshman year of high school, I started my own clothing brand. I remember people were telling me, like, like, why do you want to do, like, not really making fun of me, but more questioning me, like, why are you doing this? Like, just enjoy your time, and you're not going to make money off this, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But for me, I feel like at that point it wasn't about the money. It was about exploring something that maybe I could learn from, something that could teach me a lot, something that maybe is not very common to make, to set me apart, make me unique. And I remember during the first couple of months, people were just overall questioning the brand I was building, what I was doing, why I was doing it, whether I was making money off of it. There was a bunch of different factors that people were considering. But I remember in my head, the only thing that was, you know, like flowing through my head was just, I have to do this, I have to do that. I don't care about the outcome. I just have to do this, I have to do that. The next step. I just have to take the next step. I remember the day I thought of the idea, I couldn't go to bed. Like, I just continuously was working on it, trying to get it started. Push through. I wasn't thinking about like, what if this fails? What if I lose money? What if it doesn't work out? What if I get made fun of? I feel like something that's starting to get into my head more now than it was like earlier. It's just the thought of being made fun of by others, and something that I'm really trying to kill that thought. I'm not trying to let it grow inside of me. I feel like that's one of the worst mindsets you could possibly have. But I feel like just having that feeling of, no, I don't care at all what other people are saying. I don't care whether people laugh, and this is my own path. I want to set myself apart, and just going after it was just a great feeling. And I remember just continuously pushing. At the end of the day, a couple months down the line, it started to, it started to grow. It started to gain traction, and people were looking at it, and people couldn't believe that I was the one behind it. People thought that maybe it was a 20, 30-year-old behind it, someone that had experience and was actually making money off of it. But when people found out it was me, people were like impressed, and I feel like the original mindset that I had of just not caring enough about what other people were gonna say, or not even knowing what I was gonna do with it, just not even knowing what was gonna be the outcome, and just going for it. It was huge, and it ultimately led to me, or to the clothing brand, gaining traction and becoming something really cool. And I feel like that's something that makes me unique to this day, something that really sets me apart. Something that I did learn from that is readiness is not the same as confidence. I feel like you can be you can be not ready for something. Like, I feel like I'm a junior right now, and next year I feel like I can't believe that I'm already gonna be off to college in a year and a half. And I don't feel ready at all. But I feel like if I do go into it confident, and I go into it open minded, ready to learn, do whatever it takes to come out the other end successful, I feel like it's just gonna come to me. And at the end of the day, the only thing that doubt or questioning whether you're ready, the only thing that brings is the only thing that it does is slow you down. It just acts like an anchor. I feel like that's what it does. However, if you're just confident that it's at the end of the day, everything's going to go well and just pushing through it, remaining consistent and disciplined, will at the end of the day bring you out the other side successful. And another point is something that I neglected at the time when I was starting my clothing brand, and something that now I'm thankful that I neglected, is the fear of being seen as not good enough or not there yet, like not successful yet. So I feel like something that really did allow my mindset to just be, push, push, keep going, keep going, keep going, was the mindset that, I don't care if other people are looking at me and seeing, like, is this kid ready? What is this kid doing? This kid hasn't even succeeded yet. People at the end of the day only see your outcomes. People don't see the work that you're putting in. I feel like when I was working on the clothing brand and I was just pushing through, I didn't really care whether I was seen as successful or not, because at the end of the day, I knew that if I just kept pushing, I'm going to get there eventually, regardless of whether I knew I would or not. I mean, regardless of whether I knew the exact specific outcome, I just knew at the end of the day it's going to work if I just keep pushing, don't give up. And another thing I feel like today most people really don't have the mentality of is, or have the experience in doing, is just taking action. I feel like taking action is more powerful than planning. At the beginning stages of any, for example, at the beginning stages of a company, when people usually start their companies up, they don't have a detailed plan as what they're going to do with it, what, all the aspects of the company is going to, where the company is going. For example, I remember reading about Nike in Phil Knight's book. He talks about how he didn't even know how he was going to make it work. He was going from bank to bank, job to job, trying to get enough money to fund his company. His company wasn't even called Nike at first. His company was called Blue Ribbon. He was developing running shoes. Think about where Nike is today. Think about Blue Ribbon running shoes. Does that even sound like Nike? It doesn't. Because ideas don't come out fully formed. Something that I believe Mark Zuckerberg said. Ideas don't come out fully formed. Yeah, it was Mark Zuckerberg. But what was very unique about Phil Knight was that he literally went to Japan not even knowing what he was getting into, all just to meet with manufacturers and see, here, can you do this for me? And if they said no, he would have just continued to pursue. He didn't even know what was going to happen. He had barely spoken to them. The huge language barrier didn't even allow them to communicate that well, over the phone. Or at that time, communication overseas was not even that easy. But what he said that was that just him putting himself out there and just figuring out as he went, just taking action, not even knowing what could happen, just allowed him to, eventually step by step get to the successful point. And he talked about how him not knowing what's next and the curiosity of what would happen next just pushed him and it kept him going. And he just really enjoyed that. And I feel like that's something that everyone should do. Someone, you don't always have to know what's going to come out of this. It doesn't always have to be the safe option. I feel like taking the risk and just taking action, just going for it, at the end of the day, you're going to get it. Like, I feel like you're going to be successful if you go for it, regardless of whether you know what's next. It's going to come out fully formed at one point. It's going to slowly, step by step, build upon itself. And something that when you doubt yourself, when you don't take action, all that does is delay the steps you're going to take. And regardless of whether you're taking the right steps in the right direction, if you just keep pushing, you're eventually going to learn. And regardless of whether you took the right first step, you could have taken the wrong first step. But when you learn from that, those mistakes allow you to learn for the future. And I feel like it's going to allow you to not make the same mistake again. And it adds a little bit of diversity to your path and shows that, I didn't make the right decisions the whole time. And because of those wrong decisions, I was able to build off of that, learn from that. And I was able to build something unique out of myself, something that I wasn't even going to predict. Just taking action, not even knowing, not even being able to predict what's next. I feel like it's just something that should keep you going, just the curiosity of what's next. What else? I feel like you also learn a lot more from just starting and planning. Like people talk about take like a lot of people romanticize the idea of starting a business. I feel like rather than going online, or maybe looking at a strict book, or a lot of people that do start businesses, they don't take or not a course. I would say people don't really try to learn about what it is like starting a business. They don't really look into I don't know how to explain it. Usually what people do is they learn from others, like autobiographies and stuff like that. But I think the most powerful thing is just to take action and you eventually learn from that. So I feel like at the end of the day, taking action teaches you more than what planning does, or something that, trying to structure your future rather than just taking action and learning from that. So yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like just start. Take action. It doesn't matter whether you know what's next or not. Just taking action, at the end of the day, you're gonna make it. One step at a time. Hopefully, hopefully you do keep pushing. Keeping that consistency and that discipline will allow you to keep pushing, and eventually you will get it. It's how it is for everyone. Nothing comes out fully formed, but step by step, if you keep building upon it, well, from what I've seen, at the end of the day, you will come out successful at the other side. Thank you for listening.